Hey guys, it's Dean here from Sports Kills, and today we're going to be showing you how to make a homemade minnow trap. Catch minnows for bass fishing. You can use them in saltwater if you're going for flounder or bluefish. Minnows is a very universal bait, catches a lot of fish, and the only bad thing about it is they're kind of expensive. A pint of minnows is usually $8, which it's not that bad, but it's not super cheap either. And that's for saltwater. Freshwater they can range up to all the way up to $25 for a pint, because freshwater is hard to find. But if you have a place like a creek or a little pond or something around you and you know there's minnows there, this trap will definitely catch them for you and catch a lot of them very fast. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get started. Okay, so first things first, what you're going to need for material wise is some wire cutters, zip ties. You don't really need zip ties, but I prefer them over the tie down wire. Also get some tie down wire because some parts can be tricky, hard to pull together. The zip ties won't be able to zip that tight. So if you want more of an effective trap, get a little bit of tie down wire. That's only 6 feet. And most important part is your mesh. Get something that's not going to rust too quick, because it is going to be sitting in water. You don't want to make this and spend all your time making it just for it to rust. This is 1¼ inch thick. This basically catches all size minnows that you would need. Doesn't let smaller ones slip through. This is 5 feet by 2 feet. The ideal size for one trap. Because you have to also consider, as you can see, it kind of looks like 2 already. This isn't folded, this is just the way it came out of the package. But you got to consider making the cones and making the end pieces, and that's going to take up some material. So let's get started. Okay, well, first things first, you want to lay out your material. It's most likely going to be coiled up, so it's going to be hard to work with without weighting down each side. So I just put 2 chairs on each side to keep it weighed down. And the first thing you want to do is just knock this one chair off. Let it coil up naturally, and just find your first starting place, which is right here. You don't want to give too much extra material, but as you can see, it's going to look something like that when it's done. Once you're at this step, go ahead and zip tie in a couple places along the seam, tying that all together. Alright, so we're all zip tied up. I use 3 zip ties, just weaving it in and out and then zip tying it together. The middle one was the trickiest one to do. Take some time on that. I put it on the outside. Some people put it on the inside. I put it on the out. The next step after this is to cut as close as you can in to where you zip tied. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so now once you cut it, you should start seeing the shape of your minnow trap. It should be a nice even circle all the way through. This is the main body of your minnow trap. So the next step you want to do is cut off those zip ties and start assembling your cone, and I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so we cut the zip ties and you're ready to make your cone or your funnel so the minnows can go in but not come out. This is probably the most difficult part in making this minnow trap. So you have your material, and as you can see, mine has this natural bend. This is the funnel shape we're going to do. So it's going to be wide on this part to fit there, and then thin on this part, very narrow, so they can't come back out once they get in. So the easiest way to go by doing this is, imagine there's a diagonal line going across like a isosceles triangle. That's where you're going to cut on. You're going to imagine there's a line, you're going to cut on it. It's kind of guesstimate, you can't really measure. So you just got to guesstimate your funnel size. And if you mess up, you can go on and use some zip ties and tie downs and tighten everything together to make it more fit. But go ahead and cut that angle in your mesh. Okay, so once you cut that piece off on an angle, you will have this triangle piece, and as you notice, it's going to start looking like a cone once you fold it all together. And there's your cone shape you're after, and then the only pieces you're going to cut off is right there. You can see that extra, and up top right there. Right there is where you want to cut. So go ahead and cut that off. So once that's cut off, you have your funnel now. See how it's thick on this side and narrows down on that side? All you're going to do now is place some zip ties there in the middle and down there to tighten everything up and hold that funnel shape. So go ahead and do that now. Alright, now since we made the funnel and it's all zip tied together, your next step is to make a faceplate that the funnel can be mounted in for the minnow trap. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that now. Alright, so to make the faceplate, you're first going to start by cutting a circle in your mesh. And it's basically just a guesstimate of how big the opening of your trap is going to be. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, just it has to be bigger than the opening hole of the trap. Like this. Not a perfect circle, but it covers, and once you zip tie it, you can cut off all the extra. Alright, so once you're done this step, take your funnel and you're going to put it on the mesh like that, and you're going to mark it. So go ahead and do that now. Alright, so once you cut the hole through it, put your funnel into it, make sure it fits, and you're basically just going to start zip tying this as tight as you can. You can have a little bit of space, but zip tie it as tight as you can all the way around. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so now once you have your funnel zip tied into your faceplate, now it's time to start lining it up in the minnow trap itself. Something like that. So you want the funnel to be as centered as you can in the actual trap. Once you're like this, take your faceplate and zip tie it around the tube of the trap. So go ahead and do that. Alright, so once you have your faceplate zip tied on, you can cut all the zip ties, and what you're going to do next is just remove all the excess material around. So go ahead and remove that now. Alright, so now once you have all the excess removed from the faceplate, the next thing you're going to want to do is start on the bait compartment for the back. Easiest way to do this is just to get a sock, a thin one that will seep through with all your bait in it, and just fill it up with whatever you want to use, stick it in there, cut a hole through it, and zip tie it up tight through like that, so your bait's going to be in the back. So I'm going to go ahead, and you guys go ahead and find something like this and zip tie it so it's hanging like that in the back. So go ahead and do that. Alright, so once you have your sock cut to fit inside, this is where the tie down wire that I was talking about earlier comes in hand, better than the zip tie. Once you fill your bait inside your sock, just going to twist it a little bit. Take your tie down wire, just give it a couple wraps around and a couple twists. Once that's twisted with your bait inside, all you're going to do is stick it in and just wrap it right back around to secure it. So that's what it's going to look like. And your bread or whatever, I would recommend putting bread or breadcrumbs in, is going to seep out once it gets wet with water. There's your bait. So go ahead and do that. So once you have your bait compartment made, final step is the back plate. This is where you're going to be putting bait in or taking your minnows out once you got them. So all you're going to do is come down here, cut another circle, just guesstimate it, because like we did up top, we can always cut off the extra. It's better to make it bigger than it is to make it smaller. There's your plate. Make sure it fits. Fits good, enough room. Now, here's the part that you're going to want to make your latch. You want to make two sides fixed, and then the bottom you want to have so that you can put tie down wire so you can unlatch it. So basically right here, what you're going to do is put zip tie, zip tie, zip tie, zip tie, and then tie down wire just as a little latch you can lift up. So go ahead and put those 4 zip ties in and 1 tie down at the bottom. Alright, so once you have the back plate on and it's zip tied down, you have the zip ties in and you have your 2 little latches on that you can undo. Next step is to cut the outside remaining mesh. So go ahead and do that. Alright, once you've done that, you successfully made a homemade minnow trap for under $20. After this step, there's many options you can do. I like to let mine sit on the bottom, close to a bank's edge. It's usually where minnows feel the safest. Some people like to put water bottles on each side and zip tie them by putting holes through them, and they like to float it. I never tried it that way, but I hear it works. But the best bet is put bread in it, put it along the side of a bottom where you know where minnows run, and get some line or something and tie it down and tie it to a tree so it doesn't get drifted away. And that's your minnow trap though. So if you have any questions about it, leave a comment, and please like and subscribe for more videos like this. And if we did anything wrong, or if we did anything you would like to see improvement on, let us know as well. So homemade minnow trap for under $25.